I'd always known Papa loved whiskey more than me. I hadn't known I was worth exactly $200 to him. The precision of it hurt worse than the sale itself. Christmas Eve. And I was awake in bed, listening to Papa gamble in the next room. The cabin wall was thin. Everything in our lives was thin walls. Patience. The pretense that he was still a father. Cards slapped against the table. The whiskey bottle clinked. His voice carried that edge it got when he was losing badly. "I got nothing left," Papa said. "Nothing," but he stopped. I heard boots scrape. Heard Bartholomew Cross's voice. Low and considering. Cross was 50 if he was a day. With 2 dead wives and a ranch that sprawled across half the territory, he'd been drinking with Papa since sundown. "What about the girl?" Cross said. The world stopped. Started again. Different. "Sarah." Papa's voice brightened. Whiskey-soaked hope. "She's young, healthy, knows how to work. Fair price for a daughter," Cross mused. "200 settle your debt." I pressed my hand over my mouth. Mama's ring, the only thing of hers I had left, bit into my palm, where I wore it on a chain around my neck. She'd died when I was 12. Sometimes I wondered if she was lucky. She never saw what her husband became. What her daughter would have to become to survive him. 200. Papa agreed. They shook on it. I heard the coins count out. Heard Cross ask when he could collect his property. Heard Papa say tomorrow. Christmas morning. Let him break the news to me gentle. There was nothing gentle in any of it. I moved silent in the darkness. Changed into my riding clothes, split skirt, wool coat. Boots Mama had taught me to mend. I took the ring from around my neck, put it on my finger where it belonged. Took exactly $50 from Papa's winnings on the table. Took a canteen, dried meat, 1 blanket. In the barn, I chose carefully. Cross's gray mare Tempest. He'd called her was the fastest horse tied outside. She was his pride, his showpiece. Taking her would hurt him. Good. I was 17 years old, and my father had just traded me for gambling debts. I wasn't asking permission anymore. Papa called me a thief. The wanted posters would too. Come morning. But I knew the truth. I wasn't stealing. I was collecting partial payment for being sold. The blizzard hit a mile out. Snow came sideways, erasing the world. I couldn't see Tempest's ears in front of me. Couldn't see anything but white and more white. The cold bit through my coat like teeth. I should have been terrified. Maybe I was, but terror felt distant. Muffled under the bigger feeling I was free. Freezing. Lost. Hunted, but free. Nobody owned me. Not Papa, not Cross, not any man ever again. They'd call me dangerous by morning. I wasn't dangerous. I was desperate. And I wasn't a thief. I was taking payment for being sold. The blizzard swallowed me whole. I rode into it, like riding into my own death. Maybe I was, but at least it would be my choice. My death. My life. Mine. I didn't look back. Snow erased everything behind me, Papa. Cross, the cabin, the girl I'd been for 17 years. All of it disappeared into white. I rode forward. Into the storm. Into whatever came next. Better frozen than owned. I woke to gray light and couldn't feel my feet. The blizzard had stopped. I was lying in a ravine. Snow piled around me like a grave I'd dug myself. Tempest stood over me, her body blocking the wind. She'd kept me alive somehow. Horses were smarter than men that way. I tried to stand, fell, tried again. My hands were blue. Everything hurt in that distant way that meant frostbite was setting in. I was going to lose toes. Maybe feet. Maybe my life. Slow and cold in this ravine where nobody would find me until spring. Then I saw the smoke. Thin line rising maybe a mile east. Chimney smoke meant people. People meant risk. Men meant danger. But staying here meant death. And I'd already chosen living once. Had to choose it again. I couldn't ride. Tempest was lame. The blizzard had done something to her front leg. So I walked. Led her. Stumbled more than walked. The snow came to my knees. Every step was a negotiation with my body to take one more. I made it maybe half the distance before I heard him. Footsteps, steady, purposeful, coming toward me. I tried to hide. Couldn't. Tried to run. My legs wouldn't cooperate, so I just stood there, holding Tempest's reins, watching a man emerge from the white landscape like something conjured. He saw the horse before he saw me. "Easy, girl," he said to Tempest. "Where'd you come from?" Then he saw me. I waited for the calculation. The assessment? The look men got when they saw something they wanted and decided how to take it. Papa had taught me to recognize that look. Cross had perfected it. This man just looked worried. "You're half frozen," he said. Not a question. A fact. I tried to speak. My mouth wouldn't work right. He stepped closer. I stepped back. He stopped. Hands visible. Non-threatening. "I have a cabin," he said. "Quarter mile that way. Fire, food. You can warm up. I'm fine." My voice cracked. Just lost my way. "Visiting my aunt." He looked at me like I was simple. Maybe I was. Nobody visited aunts in December blizzards on expensive horses they clearly didn't own. "You'll lose those toes if we don't warm you up," he said. He was maybe late 30s. Weathered face. Gray eyes the color of the storm I'd just survived. Work clothes. Worn, but clean. Rifle across his back, but his hands were nowhere near it. No wedding ring. Calloused fingers. Everything about him said, working man, alone, honest labor. I didn't trust it. Couldn't afford to. He checked Tempest's leg first. Gentle, competent, talking to her soft, while he felt for breaks. The horse mattered to him before I did. That surprised me. Moved me. Though I hated that it did. "She needs rest," he said. "You both do. I can't. You can follow me or freeze here. Your choice. Your choice." 2 words that shouldn't have mattered. But they did. He wasn't telling me. Wasn't forcing me. Was offering a choice. That was more than Papa had ever given me. He turned his back. Started walking toward the distant smoke. Didn't look to see if I followed. Just trusted I'd make my own decision. I looked at Tempest. Looked at the endless white. Looked at my blue hands and useless feet. Looked at the man's back. Already disappearing into the landscape. Trust got me sold. I thought, solitude might get me frozen. I chose frozen. Or thought I did. But my feet moved anyway, following him. Following the promise of warmth. Following, because dying alone in snow seemed stupider than risking one more man. "Wait," I called. My voice was small, broken. Nothing like the girl who'd ridden into a blizzard. He stopped. Waited. I followed. The line shack was 1 room, 1 bed, 1 chair, 1 plate on a rough-hewn table. Everything spoke solitude. A man who'd chosen alone, or had alone chosen for him. "Bed's yours," he said. Not asking. Stating, "Where will you?" "Floor's fine. Done it before." I should have argued. Didn't have the strength. He built up the fire while I stood dripping snow onto his floorboards. Heat hit my skin like needles. I bit my lip to keep from crying out. "Lucas," he said. "Lucas Brennan. I tend this line shack for the Double R Ranch. You got a name?" I hesitated, thought about lying. Couldn't remember any names but my own. "Sarah," I said. Just that. Nothing more. He nodded like Sarah was enough. Like he didn't need my story, my past, my reasons for being half dead in a Christmas blizzard. 3 days I recovered. 3 days I watched him work, checking trap lines, tending a few head of cattle in the near pasture, keeping the cabin functioning. He was efficient, quiet, talked to the animals, more than to himself. Asked me nothing. On the 4th day, another storm rolled in. We both knew it. Watched it coming from the window, banking dark on the horizon. "You can't leave in that," he said. "I know." My voice was steady now. Feet had feeling again. "Tempest needs another week anyway." He looked at me different then. Really looked. "That's Cross's mare. Finest breeding stock in the territory." My heart stopped. I waited for him to turn me in, to demand explanation, to see me the way the wanted posters would thief. Criminal. Dangerous. "I'm the girl they'll be looking for," I said. "By now there's posters. Reward, probably." "If you want me gone, are you dangerous?" he interrupted. I thought about it. About Papa's hands and Cross's eyes and the blizzard I'd ridden into. "Only to myself," I said. He was quiet a long moment. Then, "Tempest needs 2 weeks minimum. You need somewhere to hide. I need help. My partner abandoned this line shack, and spring calving starts in 6 weeks. We make a deal. What kind of deal? You work cook, mend, help with stock prep. Stay out of sight when the supply wagon comes. I don't ask questions. You don't tell lies. When Tempest heals, you go. Fair. It wasn't fair. It was mercy. But I'd learned to take what was offered. And if they ask you directly," I pressed. "If someone comes looking, I won't lie for you," he said. "Honest. But I won't volunteer information either. You'll have to trust me that far." Trust. There was that word again. "Deal," I said. He set out 2 plates that night. 2 cups. Such a small thing. But I'd eaten alone for 5 years since Mama died, and Papa started seeing me as burden instead of daughter. 2 plates meant I wasn't invisible. Wasn't just taking up space. Was present. Mattered. Had value beyond what men would pay for me. I lay in his bed that night he'd insisted again. Taken the floor and listened to him breathe in the darkness. Even breathing. Peaceful. Papa snored when drunk, which was always. Papa thrashed and cursed in sleep. This man just rested, like he had nothing to run from, nothing to fear. I wondered what that felt like. Then hated myself for wondering, for softening, for starting to hope that maybe, just maybe, not all men were like Papa and Cross. Hope was dangerous. Hope got you sold. I'd count every day. I'd leave the moment I could. That was the deal we made with each other. And with ourselves, 6 weeks, then gone. I could survive 6 weeks of anything. 3 weeks in. I caught myself humming while kneading bread. I stopped immediately. Stood there with flour on my hands. Horrified. Humming meant contentment. Contentment meant letting my guard down. Letting my guard down meant pain. That's what Papa had taught me. That's what I knew bone deep. But my hands kept working, and the hum came back. Quiet, stubborn, hopeful. The days had settled into rhythm. Mornings I made coffee strong and bitter the way he liked it while he checked the stock. Midday I handled cabin work, mending and cooking and keeping things orderly. Evenings we ate together in silence that had stopped being uncomfortable and started being something else. Something almost peaceful. He brought me coffee first, now. Every morning. Poured his own cup second. Such a small reversal of Papa's men-eat-first rule. Such a small kindness. I almost cried the first time he did it. Hid my face and blamed smoke from the stove. "You learned ranching somewhere," he said one evening. I'd spotted a fence breach during my chores. Told him about it. He'd fixed it and thanked me. Actually thanked me. Like my noticing mattered. "My mother," I said. Careful words. Before she died, she said a woman should never be helpless. Smart woman? She was. I looked at my hands. Mama's ring caught the firelight. Papa didn't think so. Thought she filled my head with useless ideas. Ideas like I was worth something. The words hung there. Too honest. Too raw. I waited for him to laugh or dismiss it or tell me Papa was right. "You are," Lucas said. Simple. Certain. Worth something. Worth more than running into blizzards alone. I didn't know what to say to that. So I said nothing. Let it settle in my chest. Warm and dangerous. Later that week, he taught me to shoot straight. Set up targets behind the cabin, put his rifle in my hands, showed me sight alignment and trigger pull. Stood back and let me try. Didn't hover, didn't correct every mistake, just trusted me to learn. A woman alone needs to protect herself. He said. I hit 3 targets out of 5. He nodded approval. I felt proud, actually proud of myself. When had that feeling died? When did I stop believing I could do anything right? The supply wagon came. On a Wednesday. I hid in the cellar like we'd agreed. Pressed my ear to the floorboards and listened to Lucas talk with the ranch hands. "You seen anyone unusual out this way?" one asked. "They're looking for a girl. Horse thief. Took Cross's best mare." "Seen nobody," Lucas said. Smooth. Easy. Storm killed plenty that week. Maybe she didn't make it. My heart hammered. He was lying for me. Completely. Protecting me when he'd said he wouldn't lie. After they left. I climbed out. Lucas was putting away supplies. Face neutral. "You said you wouldn't lie," I said. "I said I wouldn't lie if asked directly." He didn't look at me. They didn't ask directly. They asked if I'd seen anyone unusual. "I've seen you." "You're not unusual. You're just a girl who had a right to run." Something in my chest cracked. Small fissure. Nothing catastrophic. Just enough to let light in. That night, I realized I'd stopped counting days until I could leave. Started counting other things instead. How many times he smiled, rare, but real. How many times I almost smiled back more than I wanted to admit. How many days since I'd felt afraid of him? 0 days. I'd stopped being afraid without noticing when. Tempest was healing. Each day her limp lessened. Each day I could leave if I wanted. Each day I found reasons to stay just one more. I set out 2 cups without thinking now. Hung my shawl next to his coat. Said "we" instead of "I" when talking about cabin chores. Small domesticity creeping in. Building something I hadn't named yet. Didn't dare name. I lay awake that night thinking about his lie. about coffee poured first, about being taught to shoot and being thanked for noticing broken fences, about a man who saw me as capable instead of commodity. I didn't want to leave. Worse, I was starting to need him. Need the 2 plates and quiet kindness and the way he said my name like it was worth saying. I should have been terrified. But I stayed anyway. The ice storm hit without warning. February cold. The kind that turned breath to ice crystals. Lucas came in from morning chores with worry carved into his face. "Cattle need moving to lower pasture," he said. "Storm's coming hard. They'll freeze on the ridge." "I'll help," I said, already reaching for my coat. "Too dangerous. I'll manage." 2 people move cattle faster than one. "Sarah, I'm going." I met his eyes, held them. "We're partners. Remember, the deal was I work." He looked at me for a long moment. Something passed between us. Something I couldn't name, but felt everywhere. "Stay close," he finally said. Storm hits. We head straight back. We moved the cattle, 17 head, stubborn and slow. The wind picked up. Snow started falling. Lucas shouted for me to head back. I shouted back that we'd finish together. We got the cattle down. But the storm was full force by then, and Lucas's horse spooked at something branch crack. Sudden wind gust and threw him. He landed hard. I saw him try to stand. Saw him fall. I was off my horse before thinking. Got him up. Got him on his horse. Got us both back to the cabin through wind that wanted to tear us apart. Hours later, after I'd stripped his wet clothes with shaking hands and wrapped him in every blanket we owned and forced hot coffee down his throat, he finally stopped shivering enough to talk. "I'm fine," he said. "Just twisted my ankle. Got cold. Don't lie to me. Lucas," my voice came out sharp, angry. "I've had enough of men's lies to last a lifetime." He went quiet, studied my face. Whatever he saw there made him nod. "You're right. I'm sorry. Ankle's bad. Hypothermia was starting. Thank you for getting me back." I sat beside my bed, but his now while he recovered. Sat there with my hands still shaking and realized, when had his safety started mattering more than my own? When had I started being terrified of losing him that night, watching him sleep, fitful with fever? He talked, delirious. Said things he probably wouldn't say conscious. Lost my Sarah. He murmured, 4 years now. Childbirth took her. Baby too. Couldn't save either of them. Came out here to stop seeing pity in everyone's eyes. My Sarah. His wife had been named Sarah. My name. He'd given me her bed, her space, her place at his table. I should have felt like replacement. Should have felt used. Instead, I felt honored, trusted. He'd lost someone named Sarah and still let another Sarah into his solitude. That took courage I was only beginning to understand. "I'm sorry," I whispered, not sure if he could hear. "I'm sorry you lost her." His eyes opened. Fever. Bright, but lucid. "Who sold you?" he asked. "Christmas Eve. You said you weren't running from the law." I'd never told him. Thought I'd kept that secret buried. But apparently, I'd talked too. Shared truths in moments I couldn't remember. I could lie now. Deflect. He was sick enough he might not remember asking, but I was tired of lies. Tired of carrying it alone. "My father," I said, "sold me to Bartholomew Cross for $200. Gambling debt. I was 17. Cross looked at me like meat he'd purchased. So I took partial payment, and left. Lucas was quiet. Then, good, good, good. You left. A woman's not property. You were right to run. Brave to run. Brave. Nobody had ever called me brave. Stupid. Maybe reckless. Foolish girl who'd freeze to death for pride. But brave, that was new. I stayed beside him through the night. Watched him sleep. Dozed sometimes, but woke at every sound, checking he was still breathing. Somewhere in those dark hours, I understood I'd been alone so long, I'd forgotten the weight of companionship. 2 people in one room meant someone could leave. Someone could die. Someone could choose someone else. Alone was safer. But alone was also empty. And I'd tasted full now. Tasted coffee made for 2, and conversations, and someone waiting for me to come back from chores. Tasted home. Morning came gray. He woke fever-free, ankle-wrapped, alive. We didn't speak about what I'd said or what he'd heard, but something had shifted. Tectonic, irreversible. He looked at me different, knew different, and I'd stopped pretending I was leaving. Tempest could run now. I could go. The deal was fulfilled. But I sat at the table, 2 cups of coffee, and stayed. That was my choice. The first real choice I'd made since choosing to run. I chose to stay. The bounty hunter arrived on a Tuesday. I was hanging laundry behind the cabin. Saw him coming from a mile-out lone rider, purpose in his pace. Something in my gut screamed danger before I could see his face. I ran inside. Lucas looked up from mending harness. "Rider," I said. "Coming fast." "Seller," he said. One word. We'd planned for this. I went down into the darkness. Crouched there with my ear pressed to the floorboards, listening to my fate being decided by men again. The irony tasted bitter. The rider knocked. Lucas answered. "Help you." Lucas's voice. Careful, neutral. Looking for someone. The hunter's voice carried hard, professional. Girl. 17. Horse thief. Took a gray mare from Bartholomew Cross Christmas Eve. You seen anyone like that? Seen nobody. Storm killed plenty that week. Cross is offering a $100 reward. Says she's dangerous. I heard Lucas move. Boots on floorboards above me. Dangerous how? Stole his horse. Stole money. He wants his property back. Horse or girl? Both. Silence. Long enough, I stopped breathing. "Haven't seen any girl," Lucas said. "You're welcome to look around." My heart hammered. The cabin was small. He'd see Tempest in the barn, see 2 plates on the table, see women's clothes hung to dry. But the hunter just said, "That's a fine mare in your barn. Looks like Cross is breeding. Bought her off a drifter a few weeks back. Have a bill of sale somewhere." He didn't. He was lying fully now. If caught. He'd lose everything. Drifter have a name. Didn't ask. Needed a horse. He needed money. That's how these things work. Another silence. Then footsteps. The hunter walking around. I heard him check the barn. Heard Tempest snort. Heard him come back. Cross wants his property back, the hunter said. All of it. He's offering $200 now. Says he won't rest until she's found. Man who thinks he can own a person deserves to be stolen from. That's your professional opinion. That's my human opinion. Boots retreated. Hoarse sounds. Riding away. I waited until Lucas knocked twice on the cellar door, our signal, climbed out, shaking. He was pale, shaken. "You need to leave," he said. "Tonight? He'll be back. With the sheriff, probably. I won't let you lose everything for me. You're not everything. You're someone who deserved better than being sold. I won't hand you over. Lucas, no. His voice was firm, final. You stay here. They'll arrest us both. You leave tonight. At least you have a chance. I wanted to argue. Wanted to tell him I had nowhere to go. No money beyond my original 50 and the wages he'd paid me. Wanted to tell him that leaving meant alone again. And I couldn't bear alone anymore. Not after tasting this. But he was right. Staying endangered him. Spring, he said, softer. Stay until calving's done. 6 more weeks. By then the posters will be old news. Cross will move on. You'll have wages, references, a stake to start somewhere. Somewhere? Not here. Somewhere else. Somewhere without him. Okay, I heard myself say. 6 weeks? We sat across the table. 2 plates, 2 cups. 2 people who'd been alone too long and now faced losing what we'd accidentally built. I didn't want elsewhere. I wanted here, with him. In this drafty cabin with 2 plates and careful kindness and a life we were building without meaning to. But wanting didn't change reality. Cross was obsessed. The hunter would return. The law would come. I'd brought danger to the one person who'd shown me kindness. That night, I lay awake, calculating. 6 weeks until I had to leave. 6 weeks to memorize this, the sound of his breathing, the warmth of the fire, the safety of walls that weren't mine, but felt like home anyway. 6 weeks. Then gone. I'd survived alone before. I'd survive again. But survival wasn't the same as living. And I'd learned the difference here. I'd learned it with him. 2 weeks after the hunter's visit, I made my choice. The supply wagon brought news. Cross had doubled the bounty to $200. He was obsessed. They said, humiliated that a child had outsmarted him. He wouldn't rest until I was found. I processed this alone while Lucas worked cattle, sat at the table with Mama's ring, and did the math. $200 was more than most men made in 6 months. Someone would eventually turn me in. Maybe not Lucas, but someone. And when they did, Lucas would be implicated. He'd lied to a bounty hunter, harbored a fugitive. He'd lose his job, his reputation, possibly face charges himself. I couldn't let that happen. Midnight. I moved silent through the cabin, packed my saddlebag with dried food, blankets, the wages Lucas had paid me. Counted my money, $73 total, enough to get somewhere, start over, survive. I left Mama's ring on the table, beside it, a note. Thank you for seeing me as human. I'm sorry for bringing trouble. Go back to your peaceful life. Forget the girl in the blizzard. Sarah. The barn was dark, Tempest nickered soft greeting. I saddled her quick, competent. All those weeks of practice, all those mornings, helping Lucas with stock. We're going, girl, I whispered. Back to what we're good at. Running. I led her out quiet. Mounted. Looked back at the cabin once. Windows dark, Lucas sleeping, safe without me. I turned Tempest toward the North Trail. Gave her her head. Let her run. We made it maybe a mile before I stopped. Sat there in the darkness, Tempest breathing hard beneath me, freedom ahead like always. This was familiar. This was what I knew. Running was my gift. Running had saved me Christmas Eve. Running would save me now. Except, I thought about Lucas waking to find me gone. Thought about him reading that note. Thought about running for the rest of my life town to town, always looking over my shoulder, always alone. Thought about Mama, what she'd say if she could see me now. "Baby girl," she used to tell me, "brave isn't feeling no fear. Brave is being terrified and doing the right thing anyway." I'd thought the brave thing was running. Taking fear and transforming it into motion, into distance, into survival. But maybe the brave thing was staying. Standing still, planting feet, and saying, "This is my ground. Come at me if you dare." Cross could take my freedom Papa had proven people could be taken. But Cross couldn't take my choice. Only I could surrender that. And I was done surrendering. I'd spent 17 years being decided for. Papa decided I was a burden. Cross decided I was property. Even my escape was a reaction running from, not running to. When did I decide what I was worth? When did I stand and say I belong here? This is mine. This life is mine to choose. I'd survived 17 years with Papa. Barely breathed. Just survived. The last 2 months with Lucas, those I'd lived, actually lived, felt the difference in my bones. I turned Tempest around, rode back through darkness, saw light in the barn Lucas, saddling his own horse. He was coming after me. We faced each other across the barn aisle. Him ready to chase. Me returned from flight. "I can't let you sacrifice," I started. "It's not sacrifice when it's choice." He interrupted. "I choose you here. I choose facing whatever comes together. Question is, what do you choose?" "Sarah." I climbed down from Tempest, unsaddled her with shaking hands, led her to her stall. "I choose to stop running," I said. "I'm done letting Cross decide my life. I'm going to town tomorrow, going to face him. Tell the truth. Claim my name back. Could mean jail. Could, but it'll be my choice. Me choosing, not running away, not being chased. Choosing." Lucas nodded slow. "Then we ride together. Tell the truth. Together. Together." That word again. The scariest word I knew. I nodded. We stood there in the barn. Tempest between us. The night settling around us like a held breath. I rode into a blizzard once. I said, "Chasing freedom." Tonight I almost rode into another one. But freedom isn't running. It's standing. It's choosing. It's you. I hadn't meant to say that last part. It escaped. True. And terrifying. Lucas crossed the distance between us. Took my hand. Just that. Just held it. "I lost a Sarah once," he said. "Thought I'd lost my chance at this. At partnership. At love. Then you showed up in a blizzard and I got a second chance. I'm not letting you ride away into the dark. Not alone. Not ever. Love." He'd said it. Out loud. Real. I looked at our joined hands. His calloused from work, mine the same, equal, partners. "Tomorrow we face Cross," I said. "Tonight I'm choosing this. Choosing you. Choosing us." We walked back to the cabin together. I'd chosen courage over safety, chosen him over solitude, chosen standing over running. First time in my life, I'd chosen love, even if I was still terrified to call it that. We rode into town at dawn. I wore my best dress, the one I'd fled in. Mended now. Mama's ring on my finger where it belonged, Tempest beneath me like a statement. Lucas beside me on his gelding, steady and sure. My hands shook on the reins, but I kept them there, kept riding forward. The sheriff's office sat at the end of Main Street. We tied the horses outside. I stood there a moment, looking at the door. Behind it, Cross. The law. My future, hanging in balance. "You don't have to do this," Lucas said, quiet. "I do. I'm done hiding." We walked in together. Cross was there. Of course he was. He'd been haunting the town for weeks, obsessed. He saw me and stood so fast his chair fell backwards. "That's her, arrest her." The sheriff, older man, weathered and fair-looking, held up a hand. "Now hold on. Cross, let's hear what she has to say." I stepped forward, found my voice, found Mama's strength in Mama's ring. "I'm Sarah Jane Callahan," I said, clear, steady. "I'm the woman on your wanted posters. I took this horse and $50 on December 24th. That's true. What those posters don't say, my father sold me to this man to settle a gambling debt. $200. I was 17. I took partial payment for myself and left." "She's lying," Cross shouted. "I made an honorable marriage arrangement with her father. Honorable men don't pay fathers for daughters." I cut him off. "Honorable men ask women directly. You never spoke one word to me. Just looked at me like purchased goods, like livestock you'd bought. The girl's a thief. And you tried to buy a human being." I turned to the sheriff. "If taking that horse is theft, arrest me. But let the record show what I was stealing back my own life." The sheriff looked between us, looked at Lucas. "You have something to add. Brennan. She's been working my line shack 2 months." Lucas said, "Hardworking, honest, competent, never caused trouble, saved my life in an ice storm. She's not a criminal. She's a girl who had a right to run." A man in the corner spoke up, the store owner. "I seen her too. Traded work for supplies. Always fair, always respectful." The supply wagon driver nodded. "Saw her working. Nothing but proper..." Even the bounty hunter stepped forward. I tracked her. "Sheriff, talk to Brennan." Girl never seemed dangerous, just scared. The sheriff leaned back, studied Cross. Studied me? "Cross," he said slowly, "buying a person's illegal, I don't care what you call it, marriage arrangement, debt settlement, it's illegal. You paid $200 for a girl. That's trafficking. I was settling a debt, illegally. And Miss Callahan here took a horse and $50. Also illegal, but I'd say you're even..." Posters come down. Cross. "You leave her alone, or I'll look real close at your other business arrangements." "Miss Callahan, you're free to go." Free. The word landed different than I expected. I'd thought freedom was the blizzard, the escape, the running. But real freedom was this walking out of that office, charges dropped, name cleared, able to choose my next step, not running from, walking to. I turned to Cross. He looked smaller somehow, diminished. In my nightmares, he'd been huge, monster-sized, inevitable. But standing here in daylight, I saw truth. He was just a man, aging, bitter, small-souled. He'd tried to buy me because he couldn't earn a woman's real choice. That wasn't power. That was weakness. I reached into my pocket, pulled out $50, the original 50 I'd taken, counted it onto the sheriff's desk. "Give this back to him," I said. "I don't want anything that was ever his. I never did." The horse, Cross, started. "Is fair compensation," the sheriff said, "for your illegal attempt to purchase a human being." "You're lucky I'm not charging you." "Cross." We walked out into February sunlight. The air tasted different. Clean. New. Lucas stood beside me on the wooden sidewalk. Didn't say anything. Just waited. letting me feel it, letting me absorb what had just happened. I'd faced my past, named it, claimed my truth, and survived. "Where will you go now?" Lucas finally asked, testing, hoping. I looked at him, this man who'd sheltered a stranger, lied to bounty hunters, rode beside me to face my demons, never once tried to own me or save me or make my choices for me, just stood beside me, offered partnership, saw me as equal. I thought freedom meant going anywhere. I said, "Turns out it means staying somewhere because I choose it, not because I'm trapped." I took his hand, felt his fingers close around mine, warm, real, solid. "If you'll have me as partner, not property, as choice, not necessity, I choose the Line Shack. I choose 2 plates and quiet mornings and a life we build together. I choose you, Lucas." "If you'll have me choosing you," he smiled, first real smile I'd seen from him, the kind that reached his eyes and changed his whole face. "I've been waiting for you to choose," he said. "Been hoping you would. Yes, Sarah, yes to all of it. Yes to you. Always, yes." We rode home together. The word didn't scare me anymore. Home, 3 years later. I sit on the porch we built last spring and watch the sun set over land we own. I'm 20 now. Sarah Brennan, wife, partner, free woman. We bought the Line Shack and surrounding acreage from the ranch. Saved for 2 years. Every penny counted. Every decision made together. It's ours now. Truly ours. The cabin has curtains I sewed, bookshelves he built, a garden plot we planted together, 2 rocking chairs on this porch where we sit most evenings, talking about the day or not talking at all, just being together. Tempest grazes in the near pasture. Her filly runs beside her, 3 years old now. Fast as her mother. We'll breed her next spring. Start our own line. Build something lasting. I'm known in the territory now. Sarah Brennan, the midwife. The woman who helps with difficult births, human and animal both. Who teaches young girls to read and shoot. Who speaks plain and works hard and doesn't suffer fools. They respect me here. The same people who might have turned me in for reward money 3 years ago now call me when they need help. Call me friend. Call me neighbor. Lucas and I work the ranch together. True partners. We decide together. Build together. Survive hard winters and celebrate good harvests together. He never once called me his woman. I was always just Sarah. My own person who chose to build a life beside his. People ask sometimes if I regret it. Taking the horse. Starting the whole chain of events. Bringing all that trouble. I tell them I regret that it took being sold to learn my worth. But I don't regret claiming it. Every hard thing that followed taught me something. The blizzard taught me I could survive. The Line Shack taught me I could heal. Lucas taught me I could trust. Cross taught me I could stand. And standing taught me I could choose. I needed all of it to become who I am. Cross left the territory in disgrace after the sheriff started asking questions about his other arrangements. Died in a bar fight in Kansas a year later. I felt nothing when I heard, "His death didn't free me." I'd freed myself that Christmas Eve. Papa died of drink 2 years back. Someone sent word, asked if I'd come to the funeral. I didn't. I'd grieved the father I needed years ago. Felt nothing for the man who sold me. I wear 2 rings now. Mama's on my right hand, reminder that I come from women who knew their worth. Lucas is on my left, reminder that I chose a man who sees that worth. Between them. They tell my whole story. Where I came from, who I became, what I chose. My hand rests on my belly now. 6 months along. First child, due in autumn. Lucas's hand covers mine, his other hand on my belly, where our baby grows. We sit together in the fading light, and I think about the future. This child will know they're wanted, not traded, not sold, not bargained, wanted, chosen, free to become whoever they need to be. I'll teach them what Mama taught me, Callahan. Women don't break. And I'll teach them what Lucas taught me, good people exist, and you deserve them. But most of all, I'll teach them what I learned bleeding in snow and hiding in cellars and facing down the men who thought, they owned me. Your worth isn't determined by what others will pay for you. It's determined by what you refuse to accept. I refuse to accept being property. And that refusal built this life. Tempest nickers from the pasture. Smoke rises from our chimney. Our home. Our choice. Our life. I was 17 the Christmas I stole my life back. I'm 20 now, and every day since I've chosen to stay, that's the difference between being taken and being home. One happens to you, the other you build. One makes you property, the other makes you whole. I ran into a blizzard to escape being owned. I rode back from fear to claim being loved. Best choice I ever made. Second best was staying. I'm still here, still choosing, still building, still free. And that freedom, the kind you choose, not the kind you run toward, that's the kind that lasts. That's the kind worth everything. That's home.